I will bang my virtual gavel here and call us to order. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023 and as amended as of March 28th, 2025, this meeting will be conducted via remote means in accordance with applicable law. Viewers can visit the localscene.media/Duxbury for information about Duxbury programming, including streaming and watching replays on Duxbury YouTube. Our first order of business this morning is an executive session for collective bargaining. Do we have any discussion prior to that motion? I think we will be coming back into open session. I believe that's part of the motion. Is there anything else we need to announce before going into executive session, Rainey?
We're good. Thank you, Brian.
Okay, great. Mr. Guitart, may I have a motion?
Yes, I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to General Law, Section 30A, Chapter 30A, Sections 21A and 3, for the purpose of discussing strategy with respect to collective bargaining, since an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating and bargaining position of the town regarding the following: Duxbury Firefighters Association Local 2167 IAFF, Duxbury Free Library Employees SEIU Local 888, Duxbury Police Union Mass COP Local 376B, and Regional Old Colony Dispatchers Association Massachusetts Coalition of Police Local 376A, and that the Select Board reconvene in open session on or about 9 a.m.
Second.
We have a motion and second. I have a declaration to make. As chair, I declare that the necessity of an executive session pursuant to Chapter 30A, Section 21A3 to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, as to do so in open session may have a detrimental effect on the town's bargaining and negotiating position. Do I have any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I will ask for the vote, starting with Cindy, please.
Cindy, aye.
Fernando, aye.
And Brian, aye. Okay, we are back in open session. I realize we're a little bit late. We were going to be on around 9. We had a very vigorous discussion, so thank you all for being patient and waiting for us to come back. We'll now begin our open session, starting with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Nancy, yes, I do believe I have a flag here. I'm going to share my screen. There we go.
I got one in the
We all
background.
see that? What's that?
I got one right behind me.
Oh, that's true. I think I got one on the screen now, don't I? Or no?
No.
No.
Use
Oh, wait.
mine
All
quickly.
right, I gotta click this. Here we go.
Uh-huh.
How about now?
No.
It's
No.
thinking about it.
It's
Mine's
thinking
right
about
here.
it.
I have one on standby.
You know what?
If
I'm gonna stop share. Rainey's got one. There we go.
There
All
it
right,
is.
please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
Republic
for which it stands,
stands
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Next is open forum. Do we have anything from members of the board for open forum?
I don't have anything.
Yeah,
Cindy.
I wasn't able to attend the select board open forum or debate. It's not really a debate. But I just wanted to say to you, Brian, what a great job you did. I think not only obviously in your answers, but in making everybody feel comfortable and keeping it so that everybody felt comfortable and welcomed, I guess is the other word. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm excited that we've got interest in the select board. It's an important role and we want to make sure the residents are well represented. So thank you for that.
Yeah, here, Cindy, you're quite right. Thank you,
Thank you,
Brian.
Fernando. Appreciate that. Anything else for open forum from the members? If nothing, I'll open it up to Mr. Reed or staff for open
Thank you.
forum.
Appreciate it, Brian. I had emailed you folks a letter, a memo from Sheila Scarzi, and Nancy has it. I'm going to ask her to put it on the screen. And I didn't have a town manager's, I don't know why, I didn't put the town manager's report on this thing, so I'm going to just do this under open forum. It'll serve the same purpose. So this is the memo that I'm going to read into the record. It's a Powder Point Bridge Phase 4 repairs update. Progress on the Powder Point Bridge Phase 4 repair project has been slow due to the cold, snowy 2025-2026 winter season. After being sidelined by ice in the harbor and the recent blizzard, the town's contractor, Great Eastern Marine, returned to the site this week and made substantial progress. Work on the Phase 4 contracted repairs, the value of which is $294,000, is expected to be completed early next week. On Tuesday, March 3rd, Great Eastern discovered damage to the sister pile repair number 51A, originally installed in 2021 under a separate contract. On Thursday, March 5th, the town's engineering consultant, SGH, and the DPW inspected the damaged sister pile at low tide. The eastern sister pile was observed to be broken off, sheared at the mudline. Probing of the western sister pile proved inconclusive. It is believed that the damage was caused by ice in the harbor. A cursory visual inspection along the length of the bridge revealed no other apparent ice damage to the structure. SGH will conduct a follow-up inspection on the bridge beginning next week to focus on the sister pile repairs to determine whether the bridge sustained any additional ice damage. SGH is currently working on a redesign of the new 51A sister pile repair. Meanwhile, Great Eastern remains mobilized at the bridge with their barge currently moored in Plymouth Harbor. Great Eastern has confirmed that they are available to promptly proceed with the repair to the sister pile number 51A once the design is finalized. While it is somewhat premature to speculate on a timeline with the design ongoing, the current estimate for installation of the new 51A sister pile repair is late March or early April. The Powder Point Bridge will remain closed to the public until such time that the Phase 4 repairs, including the forthcoming 51A sister pile repair, are completed and fully inspected. The town and SGH are consulting with Mass DOT to ensure that all repairs and inspections meet applicable safety standards prior to reopening the bridge to the public.
All right, I realize this is open forum,
Yep.
but this is a public safety issue.
Yep.
I think it's appropriate to entertain questions, if any, regarding the announcement that Mr. Reed
Sure.
just shared.
What this boils down to is a delay in the reopening of the bridge. And if Mass DOT conducts their inspection, we have to be ready for whatever they're going to recommend as well. That's what I wanted you folks to know.
Right. So we're hoping that this repair satisfies DOT requirements, but they may not. So there may be there is a risk that additional work will be carried out to ensure the safety and integrity of the bridge, which will further reduce the opening.
That's correct.
That bridge. Okay.
Yep. I didn't want you to be surprised.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else from town hall staff for open forum?
That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. I don't see anyone else to hand raise. Anything from the public? Do we have anybody, Nancy, with the hand raised?
Nope, the only person from the public is Susanna Sheehan. Nobody else is in attendance.
All right. Welcome,
And
Susanna.
if you
Thank
can
you.
hear me, I'll send that
Appreciate-
to you right now. I'm sorry, Brian.
No, as always, we appreciate the Clipper covering our meetings. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So if there's nothing further on open forum, we'll now move into new business. We have a discussion and possible votes on the following collective bargaining settlement agreements as follows. Duxbury Permanent Fire Association, IAFF, Local 2167. Duxbury Free Library Employees, SEIU, Local 888. Duxbury Police Union, MCOP, Local 376B. And Duxbury Safety Dispatchers, MCOP, Local 376A, which is tentative. And this will be presented by our Human Resources Director, Jeannie Horn, Council Russ Dupre, although I don't see Russ on the line anymore, our Finance Director, Mary McKinnon, and Town Manager, Rainey Reed. Jeannie, would you like to kick us off?
Russell's still here, by the way.
And
Oh,
Russ
hey,
is-
Russ. Okay, great.
Sure,
Hi, Russ. Glad to have you here.
sure. Thank you. Yes, I will start with the Duxbury Free Library employees, and I'll just give a brief overview of the settlement. So the Duxbury Free Library Employee Union has a settlement agreement before the select board. It's a 3-year agreement beginning 7/1 of 2025. And the agreement includes a 2% COLA increase every year to base wages. And it also includes a change in the library associate pay in conformance with the recommendations from the classification and compensation study, which would provide them with a new wage schedule, which adds 6% to step 1 and applies 3% between steps 2 through 7. In addition, we have proposals that were agreed to that include the removal of the library assistant position because we haven't had anyone in that position in almost 20 years. So we're removing that from the collective bargaining contract. The town can now hire new hires up to step 3 based on their related work experience, skills, and the degree of difficulty to fill that vacancy at the time. We clarified work hours and staff meeting attendance. We updated tuition assistance in terms of our policy, but the tuition assistance is funded by a grant. So the language that we agreed to includes the fact that if the grant isn't available, the tuition assistance isn't available either. So there's no additional cost to the town. We memorialized our holiday practice as it relates to work days. We simplified vacation language so that it's easier to understand. We included language regarding FMLA leaves and the requirement for a doctor's note. We updated our bereavement leave language to include the death of an individual living with the employee in their primary home so that they would be treated in accordance with our policy as it relates to immediate family members because they would be considered similarly situated. We agreed to permit employees to use personal days on a prorated basis in their first year of employment. We included our universal proposals, which are transition to electronic timekeeping and attendance system, mandatory cybersecurity training, and mandatory multi-factor authentication. Updated access to the integrated library system and related language. And we agreed to a $500 bonus for individuals who provide at least 6 months notice of their retirement so that we can plan organizationally. And we updated the contract to remove references to he and she to replace them with employee. So that's the library contract. Do you want to
All right.
vote on that contract separately?
Pardon?
Do you want to vote on that contract one by one?
Yes, I'm happy to. I just wanted to share with Susanna and anyone else watching that the select board just prior to this did have a very detailed discussion on each of these contracts, and we had a robust review of these. So I know it in public forum here, it looks like we're sort of just checking a box, but we did go through each of these very carefully with many questions and answers. So with that, I just want to have that out there so it doesn't look like we're just sort of nodding our heads. Fernando, go ahead.
Yeah, and also, Brian, building on what you said, we did look at the financial impact and ensured that basically these negotiations were fair, equitable, and financially robust from the town's respect.
Thank you for that. Agreed. Okay. Yes, I think it makes sense for us to vote on these separately, if that's useful to you. And with that, we'll entertain a motion, Fernando, for the library employees.
Yes, I move that the Select Board supports and recommends the approval of the March 14th, 2026. This is a special town meeting article.
No, Fernando, just use
Was
the
it-
same motion that you used during executive session, and then we'll vote on the articles separately.
All right, then. So let me find. I closed that one. Where is it? Let me see here. Uh-oh. All right. I move that we approve. I move that Select Board supports and recommends the approval of the Duxbury Free Library Employees SEIU Local 888 as presented, effective in 2025 and ending in 2028. Let me find it. If that works, let me know. If not, I'll try and find the.
Nancy, can you put it on the screen?
I'll get it ready for the next one.
You have it for the next one? Or
Yeah.
hold on, I have to find it.
I can read it if you want. Do you want me to read it?
Go ahead,
Go ahead and
Jeannie.
read
Yeah,
it.
that's a good
Okay.
idea.
Mary, you do it. I mean, Jeannie.
I can read
So
it.
I think what Fernando wanted to say was that you wanted to move that the select board accepts the settlement agreement by and between the town of Duxbury and the Duxbury Free Library Employees SEIU Local 888 as presented or amended beginning July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2028.
Second.
So that was your motion, Fernando?
Well, exactly.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I will second it.
All right, motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? I do have just one point of clarification. When the motion said as presented or amended, there were no amendments, so it's as presented. So there's nothing else no other documents floating around that we need to add to this.
Okay.
All right, I will call for the vote, please, starting with Cindy.
Cindy, aye.
Fernando, aye.
Fernando? And
Fernando,
Brian, aye. Okay, next, Jeannie, we'll move on to, is it police or fire you'd like to do?
Fire.
Okay,
Thank you. So we have a settlement agreement with between the town of Duxbury and the Duxbury Firefighters Association, local 2167 IAFF. The terms of the agreement are a 2% COLA for each of the 3 years of the contract, and in accordance with the classification and compensation study, it found that the firefighter EMT position was paid below the fiscal year 25 60th percentile pay for our competitive set communities. So the settlement agreement includes a 2.5% addition to step 4 for firefighter EMTs, and for firefighter paramedics to add 3% to step 4 because they were also considered to be paid below the minimum of the maximum end of the pay scale. And the study found that captain EMT was paid nearly 12% below the minimum of the pay scale for our competitive set communities and a little over 10% below the maximum. So the settlement agreement includes for captain EMT adding an additional 10% to each step. And for captain paramedics, the study found that they were paid 13% below the minimum of the pay range and almost 10% below the maximum of the pay range. So also adding for captain paramedic 10% to each step. So that's the wage proposal. And then in terms of the details of the settlement agreement, we agreed to increase the annual stipends for the following positions. Coordinators stipends will increase from $300 annually to $1,000. Mechanic from $3,000 to $5,000. EMS manager from $5,000 to $7,000. And we are adding a new stipend for administrative captain of $2,000 annually because there's a pay disparity between the shift captain compensation and the compensation for administrative captains. And the next item is we memorialized and updated the terms of the memorandum of agreement related to captain and assistant emergency medical director and the EMS manager to align with our current practice as it relates to average weekly work hours and the availability of those positions for 2 hours beyond the 40-hour standard work week. That will be considered flex time so that those individuals remain available during outside of their regular work hours on a weekly basis. We updated the family sick time so that it is reflective of what's available in the other collective bargaining contracts. So because the fire operates on a 24-hour schedule, it increases their family sick time from 24 hours per year to 48 hours per year. We updated the longevity pay language so that after 15 years of service, longevity pay is provided to people for overall years of service to the department, not just for the years of service in their particular rank for their job title. And employees can, we also updated our compensatory time language so that employees can choose to use up to 6 10-hour blocks of compensatory time. So when people work overtime, they either get paid in wages or time. So increasingly, we're seeing people want to use, they're electing to use that compensation in terms of time. So it helps contain the usage of that, and it gives employees more flexibility as it relates to how they're compensated for their overtime, either in pay or in time. And the fire union agreed to our universal proposals, which include mandatory cybersecurity training, multi-factor authentication, and also by law, they agreed to annual query checks per reimbursement requirements from Mass Health. Even though it's a law, we're still required to impact bargain that particular impact on the department. And the same goes for their agreement with the COVID-19 flu vaccine documentation. By law, that's required to comply with current OEMS requirements. So it's the Office of Emergency Medical Services. And then we updated some housekeeping language as it related to annual physicals so that they can get their annual physicals at occupational health providers or urgent care facilities. And then we updated a typographical error as it relates to Article 11.4. So we changed the abbreviation for SCUBA so that it is correct. So that's fire.
All right, Jeannie, just for the public's knowledge, can you just briefly touch upon the purpose of the stipends?
Yes. So the stipends that I spoke about relate to duties that need to be completed as part of the service to the public and the operation of the department, but they are duties that are outside of their regular job description. So it's compensation for work that is over and above what is included in the job description, but it still needs to be completed. So there are coordinators that relate to public education and other fire related services like mechanic and the EMS manager. So they are specialty responsibilities that have a high level of risk and skill and education, and it provides the opportunity for the department to get the work done and for the employee to be compensated for those additional roles and responsibilities.
All right, thank you.
And these stipends don't apply to everybody. They apply to specifically to those employees that have that skill set and provide training and their specialty to the other EMS paramedics and firefighters.
Correct.
It's an important point, Fernando. Thank you for raising that. Anything else from the board on firefighters contract? Okay, Mr. Clerk, may I have a motion?
I've got it now. I move the Select Board accepts the settlement agreement by and between the town of Duxbury and the Duxbury Firefighters Association Local 2167 IAFF as presented beginning July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote, starting with Fernando
Fernando, aye.
Cindy, I.
and Brian, I. Next is police.
That's right. So this is the last settlement agreement we have for today.
So
For
before you go on, just to clarify, because we had 4 on the agenda, public safety dispatchers, that's marked as tentative. So we're not going to review that today because it's not ready.
correct. The
Okay.
union's ratified, but we don't have the signed agreement yet.
Got it. Perfect. All right. So now we can move on to the police. Thank you.
Great. So for police, in terms of wages, the police union has agreed to a COLA over 3 years of 2, 2, and 2. And then in accordance with the compensation and classification study results, they found that for a police officer, they are paid about 1.5% below the minimum of our competitive set community salary ranges, and about 4.25% below the maximum of the salary ranges for those comparable communities. So we agreed to provide police officers with an additional 1.5% added to steps 1 through 5, and an additional 4.25% to step 6, which is the top of the wage scale for that job title. Similarly, for police sergeants, the classification and compensation study indicated that they are paid about 3.75% below our competitive set community minimum pay range, and about 4.75% below the maximum. So we agreed to provide police sergeants with an additional 3.75% at steps 1 and 2. And then I believe that they have 3 steps. So, no, sorry, 4 steps, no, 3. Provide 4.75% to the top step in order to implement the compensation and classification study results. So those are the wages. And then for, let's see, the town, we also agreed not to implement body or vehicle camera requirements unless required by law during this contractual period. There are significant costs associated with doing that, and that wasn't something that we could do at this time. We replaced patrolman with police officer and changed he and she references throughout the contract to employee. And the police union agreed to our universal proposal relating to transition to electronic timekeeping and attendance system. And we would examine the system that is currently in use at the police department first to determine whether or not the functionality already exists within the system we already have, which everyone is very pleased with. The police union agreed to participate in the Massachusetts Registry of Motor Vehicles Driver Verification System program, which is a free program for municipalities where individuals who have an element of driving associated with their position, the employer can check the driver record and get automatic updates about that. They also agreed to our mandatory multi-factor authentication implementation and training. They agreed to our proposed updates to the performance evaluation documents. And we also agreed to update the work clothing and cleaning allowance to better reflect our current practices. So we're moving away from the traditional quartermaster system that they've been using to a system that better meets the needs of the organization, so that people have the uniform that they need at the time that they need it. So it will serve the needs of both the department and the officers more effectively.
Okay. Any questions of Jeannie on police? All right. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
I move that Select Board accepts the settlement agreement by and between the town of Duxbury and the Duxbury Police Union, Mass COP Local 376B, as presented beginning July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2028.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I will ask the vote, starting with Cindy
Yeah,
Fernando, I.
and Brian, I. I believe that concludes the collective bargaining settlement discussion. For now, I just have one thing, and then I'll let you go. I just want to again thank Rainey, Jeannie, Mary, and team and Russ for their hard work on behalf of the town in negotiating these agreements. And on the other side, sincere thanks to our unions for number one, the fantastic work that their members do for our town and residents and those who work here, but also for coming to the table and engaging in what we believe to be fair and appropriate contracts that are sustainable. So we thank you for that. Fernando, go ahead.
No, I think you've said it nicely, is that through the work done with our compensation and classification study, we're able to demonstrate the unions that we are paying a fair wage for the quality service that they're providing, and that is competitive with other benchmark and comparable communities. So really that study has been very helpful for the town and for the residents and also for the unions to demonstrate that we're a good place to work. We pay a fair wage, but at the end of the day, we are, shall we say, we are mindful of the funding that's provided by our residents to support that.
For sure. Cindy, anything to add?
no,
Okay. I didn't want to leave you out.
no, no, well, I guess the only thing I'd say is how much we do appreciate the folks that do work for our town, and that we hope that these agreements reflect that.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Anything else from the team before we move on to select board recommendations for town meeting? Okay, I don't see anything. Russ, thank you again.
Thank you all.
We can probably let Russ go. All right, so next we'll move on to discussion of possible votes on select board article recommendations in the March 14th, 2026 annual town meeting warrant. It's hard to believe that we are fast approaching annual town meeting 8 days from today. This will be presented by our town manager, Rainey Reed, HR director, Jeannie Horn, and finance director, Mary McKinnon. Rainey, why don't you take it away?
Well, hold on one second. I just gotta grab my sheet. Forgive me. So you have you've approved the articles, and now at this point, you've approved the contract. So now at this point, we simply need you to, well, I would recommend that you vote to approve Article 8, which is the union contracts.
Right.
Just
All
for
right.
clarification, do I need to identify all those unions within the motion, or just say union contracts, Article 8?
Article 8, union contracts. And by the way, I will point out, this is for the Article 8 in the annual town meeting is for the current year of those contracts. When we get to the special town meeting warrant, that will be for the previous year for the retro, but I'll say that again when we get there.
Yeah. And when you say previous year, we're talking about this current calendar year or this current year that
yes
we're in. Yeah. All right. Because when we talk about the annual, it's starting for fiscal 27. We're currently in fiscal 26. I know it's because we say year and year, and they're a little different. So all right, we'll get there. So this first one has to do with the annual town meeting warrant. So we're talking about union contracts starting in fiscal 27, which begins July 1st, 2026.
Correct.
Right. I move that the select board supports and recommends the approval of March 14th, 2026 annual town meeting article number 8, union contracts as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote, starting with Cindy.
Yeah.
Fernando, I.
And Brian, I. Motion carries 3-0. Next, we'll move to discussion of possible vote on select board article recommendations in the March 14th, 2026 special town meeting warrant. This will be presented by Rainey, Mary, and Jeannie. And Rainey, as you mentioned, so this is the annual. So this is fiscal 26, which started July 1st, 2025, and that we're in now.
Yeah, this is actually the special, Brian. Article
Is that what I
7.
said? No? Oh, okay.
Article 6, yeah, it's just as you said, with the exception, this is actually in the special town meeting
Yeah.
warrant, and it's Article 7.
I move that Select Board supports and recommends the approval of the March 14, 2026 special town meeting Article number 7 union contracts as presented.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, I will ask for the vote, starting with Fernando.
Fernando, aye.
Cindy, I.
And Brian, I believe that concludes our business this morning of our very special morning meeting of the Select Board. It says adjournment next, but we don't have any announcements, right?
No.
Okay, but we are meeting Monday,
Yes, you
this
are.
upcoming Monday, the 9th at 6:30. Is that right?
Yes.
Our
Correct.
usual time? Okay, great. May I
I
have one
move-
more motion, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, I move to adjourn this morning meeting of Friday, March 6th.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Any discussion on the motion to adjourn? Hearing none, I will ask for the vote, starting with Cindy, please.
Aye.
Fernando, aye.
And Brian, I'm going to use my virtual gavel here and declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you all for joining this morning.